Aaron says resistors see DEI as divisive and political. Reverse racism. Beth says I often hear that white men can no longer get hired. If white people support DEI efforts for hiring, there will be less good jobs for themselves. Yeah, highlighting negativity and focuses on race. Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of chat out there. You know, some negative aspects. I appreciate you all sharing those as well. And just on top of, yeah, not needed as society is over it. Yeah, Kathy. I'll continue to monitor that as well. Yeah, thank you all for sharing, and for those that will continue to share. Yeah, these are some examples that I've seen as well, as it pertains to, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We often see the term woke, while some might not even know how to define that. Um, Elon says that DEI is discrimination. Bill says that MLK would have opposed the DEI movement. So yeah, as we can see, there are a range of opposing views. And I think for myself, I would love to share just what DEI means at a base level, outside of all of the backlash that it's receiving. So so let's talk about DEI in the workplace. Um, when thinking about DEI in the workplace, this can show up, in your team or office demographics. It can come through conversations, through DEI trainings, policies, and so on. So while the term, diversity, equity, and inclusion has become more common, I just wanted to share a refresher on, how it shows up authentically. So that brings me to a DEI cake analogy that I came across, which is an overview, right? When we think of um, when you think of a cake and you think of DEI, diversity is the right ingredients. The equity piece, is the right amount of each ingredient. And then we have the inclusion piece, which is putting the ingredients together. And essentially the end result is belonging. I'll go a little bit deeper into this. So when you think about, again, the diversity piece, you're gathering all the ingredients. So if you can just kind of, um, you know, come with me along this journey as we talk about this DEI cake. Um, so the first piece, you're gathering all your ingredients, right? So your eggs, flour, sugar, butter. Um, so if you only use flour and eggs, then you might not have a solid cake. And this can apply, to your own team or office, without welcoming a variety of individuals, and you'll fail to gain just that multitude of perspectives, from those with different backgrounds, experiences, ethnicities, and so on. So essentially, without diversity, this can limit your organization's ability to learn and grow. And going into the second piece, equity, right? That's the right amount of each ingredient. So for going back to the cake, if the recipe called for 2 eggs, you wouldn't add 6 just because you think that's what's needed. In the same way, you can apply this to, when you're creating an equitable workplace, when you choose to implement procedures and policies needed to create an equitable workplace, you get a better outcome. And equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and is allocated the resources and opportunities needed to reach that equal outcome. So it's important to communicate, with your employees so you have an understanding of, what each individual needs, from talking with them rather than implementing what you think they might need, because everyone has different needs as it pertains to equity in the workplace. So then we go into inclusion. That's when you're mixing all the ingredients together, right? So this is where employees are feeling respected, they have a sense of belonging, and are able to participate. And, we mix all the ingredients. We're putting together, different education, backgrounds, opinions, voices. We're making sure that everyone has a seat at the table. So ultimately, when you add all these together, the diversity, equity, inclusion, the biggest thing is just enjoying and celebrating the outcome of belonging. And that is how, you know, at the base level, DEI is constructed, right, to create that sense of belonging and definitely not trying to provide a place of divisiveness as it's often referred to. So now let's talk about some benefits of DEI in the workplace. Again, investing in diversity, equity, and inclusion can have a great amount of benefits. Um, Studies have shown that companies with a more diverse workforce perform better financially. For example, a 2019 study by McKinsey found that companies with the most diverse workforces were 35% more likely to have financial returns above the respective national industry medians. So that's looking at that financial performance. A 2020 study by Glassdoor found that companies with inclusive workplaces had employee engagement scores that were 20% higher than companies with less inclusive workplaces. And then we think about, job seeker attractiveness. A 2021 study by Deloitte found that 70% of millennials and Gen Z workers said that a company's commitment to DEI was important to them when deciding where to work. So in addition to the benefits that we just talked about, investing in DEI can also help reach a wider customer base and also improve your company's reputation. When you take the time to better understand the needs and preferences of diverse customers, then you can appeal to a broader market. And within appealing to this broader market and showing this commitment to DEI, this can also help affect your organization's reputation, as well as as being an organization that is there to support all people. So, oh, okay, sorry about that. So what can companies do? So first, as it pertains to just practical steps, first you can tune up your existing DEI strategies if you have them. Um, as rules and regulations change, being sure to review your company's policies to align with your organizational goals. So that's the first part of practical steps. So we think when looking into recruitment, it will be important to diversify your options as it pertains to seeking talent. As we talked about the pipeline at the universities potentially lessening, it might be important to look into community organizations that focus on diverse pipelines, such as Genesis Works. You can also think about looking at candidates from community colleges and considering skills-based hiring outside of just education, right? So when we think about that access, there's a lot of different ways that we can, find talent in these different areas, instead of just traditionally looking at the institutions themselves. So as we mentioned earlier, there are many DEI programs that are being removed from colleges. Therefore, we cannot assume where potential employees or current employees are as it pertains to DEI readiness. So therefore, companies should include DEI education in their onboarding programs. Being sure to also highlight the importance of that as it pertains to the organizational goals as well. So when we think about performance reviews and pay and promotion decisions, they should be continue to be based on standard and objective data. There has been research that indicates that this process has been riddled with bias. So it's important to audit your processes just to make sure that we have that objective data to remove bias in those performance reviews and making sure that everything is equitable when you're thinking about those decisions. So when it comes to the communication aspect of things, gathering a pulse of where your company is as different issues arise, creating systems in place, whether that's, one-to-ones, emails, group meetings, and just monitoring the workplace for awareness as different things come up, just to make sure that your organizations are not ignoring different issues, but being able to have the space for your employees to, talk through or just be able to highlight things that are going on. And last but not least, you can always, seek external help to assist you all in your DEI journey. So that transitions well into how can IPD help as it pertains to, on your DEI journey. So as the DEI program specialist at Metro State's IPD, I deliver customized training to clients who are seeking to improve their DEI efforts within their organizations. As we see the many benefits it will produce in your organization. As it pertains to my training approach, I utilize a space and grace approach, understanding that we're all starting somewhere along our DEI journey, and we may not always get it right. So with that, that is the approach that I like to use. And as I mentioned earlier, we're currently preparing to launch our 4 navigational tools for the DEI workplace journey customized training program. So I just wanted to just do a little bit of a highlight of the courses that we'll be providing. So with this first course is building common ground. That's being able to define and assemble the right supplies for your DEI workplace journey. So when it comes to your organization, being able to, have that common ground space as an organization. And then the second course, practicing cultural humility. That's essentially starting your journey on the right foot, relying on the supplies you assembled. So, being that you have those um, common ground as it pertains to DEI, being able to utilize that to make sure you start your journey on the right foot. And then the third course, recognize bias. Learning to read the trail and avoid pitfalls on your path to a more inclusive workplace. And last but not least, moving into action. So as you find success on your journey, clearing the path for those who follow and keep moving towards your next goals. So being able to put actionable steps within your organization. So as we package these navigational tools, I would like to take this time to introduce this capability maturity model for DEI. So we took the time to curate this DEI capability maturity model, and I've created a poll that I want to activate in here, and I just want you all to think about where your company is as it pertains to your DEI journey.
Say, Eric,
Yes.
they're kind of difficult to read. Can you kind of maybe quickly run through them before the poll?
Oh, yes. My apologies there. So the first stage is the initial stage. So that's an individual grassroots efforts with DEI are taking place, such as employees adding the pronouns to their screen names and signatures. So that's just that initial phase. Developing, that's when leadership sees value in DEI and foundations are being provided to those who are interested in training. on reducing bias in hiring practices. The third stage is defined. So leadership engages in a consistent DEI effort. Standardization begins by providing all employees with training, defining terms, and aligning DEI concepts to organizational values. Departments are encouraged to use DEI best practice in initiatives and projects. The fourth stage is managed. So that's enterprise level structure is put into place to use DEI best practice. Key positions receive training on designing and implementing policies to support DEI initiatives. DEI becomes part of the organization's culture as KPIs for DEI are added, and employees expect a respectful culture as the norm. And then the last stage is optimized. So DEI is automatic. Everyone in the organization contributes to DEI as part of their defined role. So I'm gonna activate the poll here. And I'll give you all some time to add in where your organization is currently. Okay, so I was able to launch the poll. Can everyone see that? Awesome. So we have some results coming in. Looks like defined is in the lead in the moment. Awesome. Okay, we're just waiting on a few more. Awesome. So it looks like, oh, sorry, I think we had a chat. Yeah, so looking at the poll, we have about 8% initial, 25% developing, 58% defined, 8% managed. So definitely a varying range. And this could be a good tool just in terms of evaluating where your organization is as it pertains to DEI in the workplace. Let's see, I'll go ahead and share the results. Okay, so I was able to share the results here. So I think everyone should be able to see that now. So again, just thinking about where you are on this model, I think this is even a good place where we could be able to connect and work with you all on, figuring out ways to advance within these stages and hopefully getting to the optimized section. I will stop sharing that now. So just in terms of my final thoughts, I think as we see, when thinking about where DEI is, I think now is the time to recommit to DEI and resist the urge to come to a halt. Being able to enhance your DEI efforts in a way that align with your organizational values and benefits your business. So now I would like to take some time for Q&A. If anyone had any questions, feel free to put that in the Q&A or in the chat, and we'll take some time to answer those. Okay, someone asked if we can be sent a model. Okay, thanks for that, Beth. And just giving some time for any questions on today's presentation or any thoughts. Wondering if there's if okay, Kelly, wondering if there's empirical research going on around the country, around DEI in the country. It's definitely from doing research. I know there is a lot of empirical research. Um, I know that in terms of gathering some of my sources, I'll definitely be open to sharing just some of the empirical research that is going on. Um, as being that I know this has been tracked, for a while now. I know a lot of it's stemmed from 2020, but I think as there's been many changes, there has been a great amount of research going on. So I'd love to share that even following this presentation as well. Okay, Aaron, any tips on a response when DEI efforts get characterized as political? I think when it comes to, DEI being characterized as political, I think the biggest thing is, being able to, share the facts of, how DEI efforts are affecting the workplace as it pertains to, creating that sense of belonging, being able to understand the benefits of DEI in the workplace, as we were able to talk through today. So I think anytime we can provide facts and just be able to emphasize just a piece of belonging, right? I think everyone, when it pertains to the workplace, I think everyone wants to feel valued. People want to make sure that everyone has a voice. Um, so I think that's what I would think of when thinking of, you know, if people are characterizing efforts as political, right? I think it's more so just about respect and being able to create that space where people's voices are heard and we're able to just truly understand whether it's the employers or the customer base um, or even in any key area. So I think that's what I would think of as it pertains to answering that question of DEI being political. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Yeah, I'll definitely follow up on that when it comes to the academic research. So I'd be glad to follow up. I think I'll have your information from our registration list. So I will definitely put that in my notes to share out some of those academic research. Yeah. Last call for questions, but also it'd be nice just to even hear um, just any takeaways or something that you all take away from today's training. I'd love for you all to add that in the chat or something new that you learned, just to get some engagement there before we wrap up today. Yeah, diversity increase profits. Thank you, Beth. Maturity model. Yes, thank you, Aaron. The cake model. Yeah, it was really interesting and a good way to kind of add something practical, especially for those that love to bake. Yeah, good ideas for recruiting performance. Yeah, thank you, Joan. A maturity model cake and looking forward to the future DEI trainings. Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Yeah, as some of those thoughts continue to come in, just like to share even contact information. Again, I provided my email, my work phone, and I'm also um on LinkedIn as well if you ever wanted to chat and set up time. Yeah, I'd love to connect with you all about different ways that your organizations are trying to improve, and we can just definitely get together and think about different trainings um, that could apply to your specific workplaces. So definitely just want to thank you all for um, joining this webinar today. And again, yeah, let's feel free to connect and think about ways we can continue to advance on that maturity model and just ways to recommit, to start, continue, or to reset as it pertains to those DEI initiatives. Um, so yeah, I'll hang on for a little bit, but definitely thank you all for joining today.